All right, guys, so data handling, she did list there which pages on the textbook this is on. So data handling is the process of gathering, recording, organizing, summarizing, and representing information. You don't have to write anything down, you can just pay attention there. Data is basically facts or information, like values or quantities that is collected via things like surveys, questionnaires, observations. All right, there are other ways also of collecting data, but yeah. So organizing data, that's all that we're going to look at today. And we're going to look at 3 different types of organizing data. So this is now when you have a bunch of information and you want to represent it in a more organized form. All right, instead of just a list of values or a list of colors, you'll see here, they've listed colors. Say, for example, I ask every person in this class what your favorite color is. All right, and I put that on a list. That won't be very organized. It won't be easy to see, okay, how many people like blue, how many people prefer pink or whatever. It would be nicer to have it in some kind of organized form. All right, so there are various ways in which we can do that. The first one, which is the most basic one, is just a tally table. And these are counting marks grouped in bundles of 5. So I'm sure you guys have seen, like in movies, when someone is like in jail or whatever, they like, or when they're being, you know, they're stranded on an island, they always do like the 1, 2, 3, 4, and then they draw a line through it to show how many days they've been on the island, whatever. So that's basically what we use for tally tables, exactly that. You need to identify specific items in your data. So that is what we have here in this example. So we are identifying the different colors that we are looking at. Then every time you see the specific item, you put a mark, which is a vertical line, down next to that item in your tally table. Once you have put 4 vertical lines down, the 5th one is a diagonal line, or you can just do a straight line going through the other 4 lines. And guys, the reason that we do that is just to show that it's in groups of 5. It's easier to count. If you see you have like 4 groups of 5, then you can see immediately, very quickly, that's 20, instead of having 20 lines next to each other. Okay, it's just if we bundle them, then it's easier to count. So yeah, they say that these groups of 5 make it easy for us to work out totals. So here's an example. Group the data below in a tally table. All right. The colors here that we have appearing in this list are blue, red, green, black, and yellow. So when we see the first blue, we do a line, vertical line. Next one is red. We draw a vertical line next to red. Next one is green. We draw a vertical line next to green. Okay, and you carry on doing that. Every time that it's the 5th one, you draw your, it doesn't have to be diagonal, guys. It can also just be horizontal, a straight one. And then at the end, you can see very easily, blue is just 5, right? Green is 5 plus 2, green is 7. Okay, so it's easy to then see the totals after that. Now, guys, if you actually want to write down the total as a number and not just have the bundles, we call that then a frequency table, where the 3rd column, you still have your color, you still have your tally, but now we add a frequency column, thank you, which is just the number. All right, so literally I'll put frequency here, I'm going to show you, and next to blue, I'm going to put the number 5. Okay, next to red, I'll put the number 3. So when you're putting down the actual numbers, that is the frequency. So you can see here, they have a different example. So group the data below in a frequency table with class sizes. Okay, so this is the number of people in a class and then how many classes there are with that kind of size. So from 25 to 29, now it's actually a group that we're looking at. Okay, so if the number is 27, it's going to fall in this first interval, we call it, this first group. So we put our line in. Okay, so the first one, 25, is there. That's our first line. The next number, 30, is over there. We put our first line. Then 44, that's a big class. That is in the last group. We put our number or our line down there. Okay, simple enough, guys. If there's a frequency column, that is the actual number of the tallies. So here we have 4 lines, so the number is 4. There we have 1 bundle. Remember, a bundle is 5. And we have 1, 2, 3 lines, so that is 8. All right, so you are just putting all your actual values there. Then, guys, if there is a total column, you're not going to total up your tallies. All right, because then you're just going to have a bunch of lines and so on. Okay, the tally column is never total, but the frequency column is. And how do you find the total of all of these numbers? You just add them, eh? All right, so you're just going to say 4 plus 8 plus 5 plus 3, and the answer is 20. Now, guys, if they told you in the list, this is a list of 20 classes, and now you're putting your frequencies down, but you're getting 18 as your total, then you know that you've left 2 out somewhere. Okay, so the total is actually a nice way of checking. If you count all of these numbers here, and there are 20 altogether, then your final total of your frequency also has to be 20. Okay. Then stem and leaf plot. Has anyone heard of that before? Stem and leaf plot? Some of you? Okay, it's just another way of representing values, but we use it to represent data or values with more than 1 digit. Okay, so you'll see now. Maybe we should write this one down as an example. Okay, yeah, let's actually do that. So let's get our books out, guys. Let's write the new topic heading, data handling. And then we're just going to write stem and leaf. They call them stem and leaf displays, but I usually just call them stem and leaf plots. Yeah.
You know, during the example, like go home straight after the exam, like you did.
So I'm actually not sure because in the past they had everyone going home at 12. But probably because of COVID, I think they'll do the same thing because they want to minimize the number of people on the property. I'm hoping that because that was quite nice. But yeah, we'll see. We actually haven't been told as a staff. I'm just checking quickly which chapter in the book this is. Okay, so it starts with 18, but then it actually goes all the way to 20. All right, so let's write chapters 18 to 20, data handling. Okay, so stem and leaf plot is a way of organizing data or a way of organizing values, let's say that rather. Oh gosh. Values that have more than 1 digit. Okay, now guys, I want you just to write down here. So the stem is going to contain the tens digit. I'll explain now what that means. Or in some cases, the hundreds and tens digit. Not sure if you guys are familiar with that terminology, but I'll explain now what that means. And then the leaf, that will contain the units digit. For example, if you have a number like 174, that number contains 3 digits. Do you guys agree? It has a 1 and a 7 and a 4. All right. The 4 just means that it's the number 4. All right. But the 7 doesn't mean that it's the number 7. That 7 actually represents 70. Right? Does that make sense? And the 1 in front doesn't mean just 1. It actually means 100. Right? So 174 can actually be split up as 100 plus 70 plus 4. Right? Does that make sense? So 174 is, how am I going to write this? I'm just going to do it at the bottom. 100 plus 70 plus 4. Obviously, we don't do that. We just know that 174 is 174. All right. But that is why we call the first number the hundreds digit, because whatever that number is tells you what hundred you're working with. So if this first number is a 1, we're working with 100. But if that was a 3, it would be 300. Right? So that first number is a hundreds digit. So I'll just write, just make an arrow just pointing towards that 1. So the hundreds digit here is 1. The 7, the second digit, tells us what, it's the tens digit. So it tells us basically what must we multiply by 10 to actually give us the actual number. So if it's a 7 here, it's 70, right? And 70 is the same as 7 times 10. Do you agree with that? If it was a 2, it would be 20. 2 times 10 is 20, all right? So the tens digit is basically showing you what 10 component of your number this is. So this 7, just make your arrow going to the 7 specifically, is your tens digit. And then the 4, you can do your arrow from either one of those 4s or both of them, like I'm doing, because you might have drawn your arrow immediately when I did it. The 4 is the units digit, because guys, that number just represents 4. It doesn't represent 40 or 400 or 4,000. The last number of your whole number, the last digit, always just represents the unit. All right, 1. 4 times 1 is 4. Okay. Now, when you're doing a stem and leaf plot, only the last digit is going to be in the leaf part. All the other digits that come before that one will be in the stem part. Okay, so this, grab a highlighter. The 4 is going to go in the leaf part. All right, the units digit is going to go in the leaf. I'll show you now. I'm just trying to load this example that is in the notes so that we can do the same one. And we're going to work with a list of values. So let's say example. Use a stem and leaf plot to represent the following ages. And it's just a list, so you can just copy that list down. Okay, there are 20 numbers altogether there, so make sure that you have all 20 after you've copied them down, just count them. Now guys, in a stem and leaf plot, your leaf parts need to be in numerical order. Okay, so if we're looking at the numbers that we have here, do we have any hundreds digits? Do we have any numbers that are more than 100? No. All right. So we're only going to put our tens digits in the stem part, and then we're going to put our leaf digits on the right hand side. Okay, so the stem is always on this side, the leaf is on that side, or the leaves, I suppose. But now the leaf parts, the leaves, we have to put in numerical order. So let's quickly just take a look. How many numbers do we have that are in the tens? We have 10, we have 11, and we have 12. So if I have my tens digit as 1, I need to write 1, 2, 3 next to it. I can't write 2, 3, 1. All right. The second part, the leaf part, we always have to put in numerical order. So guys, it is best, it's easiest to actually do the putting the leaf part in the correct order if you just write this list in numerical order first. Okay, so let's make a little note there at the top. Whenever you're doing a stem and leaf, it's a good idea to first write the values in numerical order. Would have been better to put the first at the end, but anyway, it's done now. All right, so guys, I want you to do that quickly. Those 20 numbers, put them from smallest to biggest in the correct order. You can just leave a line open and do the new list underneath. And then we're going to work from that list, okay, instead of the list at the top. It's a good idea that as you are writing a number down, you just cross it off the original list. Okay, so that you can keep track of which ones you've done already.
If they're doubles of the number, we just write those down.
Yeah, so because you still have to have all 20 of them. Yeah, even if they are double. Okay, that is what I got. You can just check there. Just let me know if something, there's a weird spot in the middle here that's not focusing. That's very strange. That bit there. Just see. Okay, there we go. That's better. Right, are we fine with that, guys? Again, it's good to actually just count all the numbers and to make sure that there are 20 of them. But if you are just drawing a line through them as you're putting them down, then obviously if there's something left at the end, then you know that you missed it. Then you can just put it where it belongs. Okay, so now for our actual stem and leaf plot, we're literally going to write the heading stem. Okay, that is what we're going to put at the top. And for our stem, guys, we're going to write all the tens digits from the smallest one to the biggest one. Now here, if we have 2 and 4, now these numbers don't actually have a tens digit in the way that it's written, but we do have to put something in the stem for them. What do we think we're going to put there? A 0, good. All right, so 0. And then guys, even if we didn't have any numbers in the tens, we can't skip any of the stems. All right, we have to put all the numbers from 0. What's our biggest age there? 89. So we have to go from 0 to 8. Okay, if there was nothing in the 60s, for example, which is actually the case here, all right, we can't skip the 6 just because there's nothing there. We're just not going to put anything in the leaf part. Okay, but we have to go 0, 1, 2, 3 until 8. 1, 2, 3. I hope I'm going to fit this in. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay, and now you can neaten this up later by drawing like a box around the whole thing, but just draw a straight line going down next to your stem, yeah?
So you put down the first digit of basically all
Of the numbers, yeah.
And you have to do like 40 digits, so you have to do 2 5.
No, because we're going to put the 2 and the 3 next to the 5. Now, guys, if there was 100, we would put a 10 in the stem. Right? Does that make sense? If there was 112, we would put a 1, 1 in the stem and the 2 in the leaf. Okay. So just because we're going to 89, we're stopping at 8. But if they were bigger numbers, we would have to put more stems down. Okay. Now next to 0, I'm going to have to put a 2 and a 4. Okay. Now, guys, you can decide. Sorry, let's just write here stem and then leaf next to it. Now you can decide whether you want to separate your 2 and 4 using a colon, or if you just want to keep a space or leave a space, that's also fine. So you can do 2 and then colon 4, or you can just do 2 and a space and 4. All right, it's up to you. Okay, but those are the first 2 numbers done. Now we have 10, 11, 12. Now if the number is 10, what is my units digit? 0. So we're going to put a 0 and then a 1 for 11 and a 2 for the 12. Then for our numbers that are in the 20s, we have a 26 and then we have 3 28s. So we're going to put 6 and then we need to put 3 8s. Right? I have to list all of those numbers even if they are doubles because there were 3 people that are 28. All right, and that is relevant. For our 30s, we have a 30 and a 33. So we're going to put a 0 and a 3. And that's basically what you do, guys. You just list all the units digits in numerical order. For our 40s, we have 2 and 7. 12 50s, 3 and 3 and 4. Like I said before, there are no people in the age or that or have an age of in the 60s. So we're just going to leave that blank, guys. You're not going to write a 0 because if there's a 0 there, that means that the age 60 is in your list. Okay, so if there are no ages in that decade, I suppose, then you just leave it blank. Okay, cool. 7, we have 72 and 74. So we're going to put a 2 and then a 4. And for the 80s, we have 85 and 89. And that's it. All right, now you can obviously neaten it up. You can make it kind of look like a table. You can draw a box around it. You can underline the headings. All right, you can do that now. I usually do that at the end because now I know how long my leaf column has to be. All right, how wide. Now, guys, it is a good idea, especially if you have a large list of values, to just count your leaves, and you're supposed to again have 20. Okay, so if you just do a quick count at the end, just to double check, because then if you left something out, you can just go back to your list and see what that was. Now, guys, if they give you something like this, you are also supposed to understand what each of these numbers will be. Right, so if you are given a stem and leaf plot, you need to understand that that is the number 30. And that is the number 33. Okay, so you need to be able to look at a plot and also understand it from there. Any questions at this point, guys? All fine? Right, I want you please to do exercise 18.2 in the textbook. I'll put it on the board just now. It is on page 212. Okay, and it's very quick, guys. It's just, they've given you a list of 40 values, and you must do a stem and leaf plot, and you must do a frequency table. All right, it will take you probably 5 minutes or so. All right, so get going on that. Everyone copy that down. Yes? Hey? Yes, yeah, so it does say height, tallies, and frequency, so you're copying the table that's in the book, yeah. Okay, there we go. Now, guys, this table here at the bottom just goes to, you can't see the last one there. It just goes to 180 to 140. All right, so maybe I won't put the heading. Let's just check. Kind of see it there. All right, so they've given you those 40 numbers. Guys, first put them in numerical order. And you're going to do the stem and leaf plot. And then you must also, from the same list, do the tallies, which is where you do your 1, 2, 3, 4, and then your 5, and then write the frequency next to it. Okay, do that, please. You can listen to music if you want.